Sloppy Joes are the quintessential stovetop comfort food, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit. We're going to braise some chuck roast and have some braised Sloppy Joes. Let's get cooking with style. Since we're using chuck steak, you're going to have to do a little bit of trimming, and if you don't want to use chuck steak, you can use ground beef. It'll make this much quicker, but it won't be braised. Let me show you what I want you to do with this piece of chuck steak here. We're going to cut it into big chunks, and when I say trim it, what I mean is like getting off this excess fat. You don't have to get all of it off, but just get these big pieces off like that. We don't want that to go in there because that'll produce a lot of fat in the Sloppy Joe sauce. And if you've got some time, just cut those little pieces off. So you got these nice big chunks here. We're going to put these in there, and then we're going to season this. Now I've got brown sugar, black pepper, paprika, salt, and ancho chili and garlic powder here. But I'm not putting in the brown sugar right now because when I'm braising this or frying it up in the pan, that sugar will kind of burn and caramelize. We'll put that in after. We're going to give this beef a nice good toss. And this is pretty much ready to go in our big stock pot. We've got our oven on. So let's head over to the stovetop and get this into the next step here. So to the stock pot, before we put this meat in, we're going to put in a little bit of oil. You can use cooking oil like some canola or maybe even olive oil. I'm using canola oil here. And here's our seasoned meat. We're just going to put that in there and we're going to sear this, kind of put a little crust on it. And we're cooking over a medium-high heat. This will take about 3 or 4 minutes aside. So let me get these going and then we'll turn it and I'll show you what we do next. All right, I've got most of these turned. Let me show you what we're looking for here. See that nice crust on there? That's what I'm hoping that all of these pieces will look like. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about? Now, if you had the brown sugar in here, it would caramelize and it wouldn't be that good. To this, now I'm going to add my onions. And we're just going to put those on top for right now because when we turn it the next time, they'll get down to the bottom. So we've got about 7 or 8 minutes on each side. I've got those onions in there. I'm going to stir those into the bottom. And you can see how some of that seasoning is sticking to the bottom. Don't worry about that. To this, in goes our brown sugar. And now the liquid. We're going to add the beer, which is about 8 ounces. The other 4 ounces can go to the chef. And you can use any type. I just happen to be using a Ballast Point Amber Ale. It works good for me. Into this goes the ketchup. Make that the tomato sauce. Here comes the ketchup. We're going to put the ketchup in, about a 1/4 cup of that. And then to that, a shake of Worcestershire or Worcestershire. We'll give this a nice stir to incorporate all those ingredients. And we're going to put this in the oven, and this is going to braise slowly for about 2 hours, but you're going to have to check the fluid or the liquid in here as it does because it'll cook down. All right, let's pop this in the oven. And oh, look, there's one already done. I got that one started about 2 hours ago. Let me show you how that looks. There we go. Let's head over to the countertop and put this all together. So one last thing to do before we assemble this. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. All right, you see how we've reduced this down? I've got a potato masher. I've got chunks of meat. Well, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go in here, and because it's braised, this meat is just gonna fall apart. Now just be really careful when you've got this pot. You've got to keep these hot pads around. Okay, what I've done, so I've gone ahead, and if you're gonna make a sandwich, you got to toast the buns. So we're going to toast these buns, or we toasted these buns. Let's put this together for you and show you what I've got. I've got a little sriracha mayo, a tablespoon of sriracha to a cup of mayonnaise. To this, I'm going to take my braised Sloppy Joe, and we're just, you know, it's up to you to really decide how much you want to put on here. Depending on the crew, they may like a lot or a little. Let's give a nice heaping batch on there. And the texture on this is so good. And I've gone ahead and I pickled my onions, jalapenos, and sweet buttered pickles. I bought those, but this recipe for the onions, we've had these before, so I'll post this with this. And substituting a little bit of jalapenos in there instead of the onions to kind of spice it up a little bit. we'll take our sweet pickles, put them there, and then take some cilantro leaves and put those on top. You see where I'm going with this, right? Doesn't that look good? And we just flip that over the top like so. And then we'll bring our chips and our sloppy joe, and away you go. Now that is a great sloppy joe, a braised sloppy joe. If you want to use ground beef instead, go ahead, stovetop, you're good to go. But I'm telling you, when you serve these braised sloppy joes up, people are going to rave about them. If you'd like this recipe and the ones we've been doing, you can go to our website, cbs8.com/recipes. Chow down.